Hello and welcome to £100 and Counting. My name is Sarah and I'm on a journey to lose £100 with Slimming World. In today's video we're going to be making cowboy rice. You may have heard of cowboy pie already. It's a dish based on sausages and beans with a barbecue sauce and a mashed potato topping. This is similar to that, but of course with a few differences. It's a one-pot dish that can be made in 30 minutes or less, so is perfect for speedy midweek meals. It is Slimming World friendly, very low Swip. And for you calorie counters, this comes in around 550 calories. So let's get started by taking a look at the ingredients I've prepared. We'll be using a pack of reduced fat pork sausage. The Swip count on sausages can vary quite a bit from shop to shop, so you'll need to check on the Slimming World app if you're following the plan to find the Swip count for yours. The ones I have here are from Sainsbury's and are just one Swip per sausage, which is excellent. I do recommend these. You could use Slimming World's own sausages sold at Iceland, which are Swip free, but do note you'll need to defrost them first before use, due to the way in which you'll be cooking these. You'll want 4 bacon medallions, chopped, 1 diced onion, 2 bell peppers, ideally 1 red and 1 green for the colour, and chopped also, 4 cloves of garlic crushed, 200 grams of uncooked long grain rice, I'm using an easy cook rice, 1 tin of baked beans, 4 tablespoons of barbecue sauce, Worcester sauce, 500 ml of chicken stock, an oil spray, and for seasonings you'll be looking for 1 tablespoon of paprika, and then 1 teaspoon each of oregano, cumin, onion powder and garlic powder. Also have some salt and pepper on hand for the end. We're going to take the sausages out of their skins to start with. We're just using the sausage meat today. I'm going to show you how I do that. So separate the sausages if they need them, and then just take your scissors and snip into the skin, and then you can just slide that straight through, peel that off, and there we have it. You just keep doing this for the rest of them. So we're now all ready to get cooking. I've got the frying pan onto a medium heat. Everything is going to be done in this dish. As I say, it is a one-pot dish. We're going to get started with the sausages. I'm not putting any spray oil in the pan at this stage. You may choose to do that, but I'm just going to let these get started and then just see if they need it actually, because this is a pretty good non-stick pan anyway. The sausages themselves, we just want to kind of break up into chunky pieces. It doesn't need to be like a mincemeat texture. We want, you know, some bite to these pieces. So I'm just using the edge of my wooden spatula here to just kind of break those up into chunks, which is done nicely there. And I'm going to let them just get started browning off. They are reduced fat sausages, but not zero fat sausages. So I am expecting them to render a bit of fat into the pan here, which is why I haven't gone straight in with the spray oil. But I'm going to see how that goes on. I may choose to go ahead and actually put that in. Now, as I say, medium-high heat. You do want to get this brown, but I'm just going to turn it down a little because this hob that I use actually gets really very hot. So I'm just going to take that down a notch. And yeah, that seems to be coming along fine. I'm going to add the bacon in now at this stage, which is just cut up into chunks here. And let's get that cooked as well. Pop that away. And just mix that through so it's getting the heat. Now I would say for me this sausage isn't actually rendering much fat at all. So I am going to use my spray oil. If you've seen me before, I know I always use my trusty Filippo Barrow spray oil. If you're on the Slimming World plan, it's half a Swip for 7 sprays. Just going to put a few on there and work that through. We don't need the sausage meat to fully cook through at this stage. We definitely just want to have it browned to get that flavour going with it. It's going to be set to the side when I'm done with it just now. Then it's going to come back in as everything simmers for the rest of the meal at the end. And that's going to be about a good 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes in the pan at that point with all the wet ingredients. So it will fully cook through at that stage. So as I was saying, cowboy pie is traditionally made with sausages. But given that we've taken them out of their skins, I mean, you could technically make this with a mince, like a pork mince would go really well. You know, if you're on Slimming World, just make sure it's the 5%, there's 5% fat mince, but that would work. Perhaps you can't call it cowboy, maybe, I don't know, but it would actually work just fine. And this has had about 5 to 6 minutes now, so I'm happy enough that this is done for now. I'm going to take it out and just pop it to the side, and then I'll move on with the next steps. So I've reduced the heat on this pan just a little bit more, definitely just to a medium heat at this stage, and I'm going to spray it with some spray oil here. So if you're using Fry Light, you definitely won't need to count any Swips for this on the Slimming World plan. As I say, my spray is technically Swipped. I've now used 2 portions and I'm probably not going to need to use any more. So that's 1 Swip throughout the whole recipe. But given this recipe does serve 4 people, I mean, realistically, am I going to count 1/4 of a Swip for it? Probably not. So not to worry. The stage we're now moving on to is to cook off the vegetables. I've just realised I have left my spoon over here. So as I was tidying up, I've over-tidied. So I'm going to go in with the onions and the peppers. There's going, and I'm also going to add all of the herbs and spices that I've put into this pot here. So that's the onion powder, the garlic powder, cumin, paprika and oregano. Stir all that through so everything's coated. This is just going to need 4 or 5 minutes to soften, that's all. So the onions and the peppers are just about ready for this now. I'm just going to add the garlic and give them 1 more minute. Just like that, just to get that fragrance. Always my favourite bit when I put the garlic in, it smells so good. Stir that round and I'll just keep that moving a little bit, just to make sure that garlic doesn't burn. But as I say, just 1 minute for that. And then we're going to put the rest of our ingredients in and simmer. Okay, so that's its minute. So now we go in with everything else again. So I'm putting that sausage meat and the bacon back into the pan. And we are going in with the rice. Straight in. The tin of beans is going straight in. Shake that out, make sure we get everything. Actually, my spoon's a bit too big for that. Shake it all out. There we go. And the barbecue sauce, do want to make sure actually we get all of that barbecue sauce out. So I've got my silicone spatula, which is extra handy for getting into all the crevices. Make sure we don't miss it. Get that off. That's good. And we have the stock as well. So I just made up 1/2 litre of chicken stock using the bouillon powder that you saw in the ingredients. So that's hot stock. I've just made it. That's going in now. And oh, the Worcester sauce, I nearly forgot. Just to taste for this for you, I like to be fairly heavy-handed with it. At least a good tablespoon in there. And giving everything a mix through. Get it all combined. That rice should be working its way right through everything. And of course that stock is going to get absorbed by the rice. That's what we want to have by the end of this. So I'm going to just pick up the temperature on this pan now that everything's in there and get that to a boil. And then I'm just going to take it to a simmer, and I'm going to leave it for, well, I'm going to say about 10 minutes, and then I'm checking on it. Now, this is going to depend on what kind of rice you're using. I am using the Ben's Original Easy Cook long grain white rice. So the cooking instructions on that are just 10 minutes. I did forget to mention actually with your rice, so obviously depending on what your rice is when you've prepared it, you definitely want to have washed it to start with, unless you're using something like this. An easy cook rice doesn't always need washing. That's why I get a bit lazy and buy the Ben's. It's the orange box, so it's the dry rice, but yeah, it's very easy to cook. So yeah, so your rice, depending on what you're using, may take a bit longer. Mine should be well on its way by 10 minutes. So yeah, so I'm just going to bring that to that simmer and then keep an eye on it. Just a note about the beans and the barbecue sauce. Heinz do sell a barbecue flavour beans that is Swip free, and you could substitute that in here, potentially avoiding the need for adding barbecue sauce altogether. If you're looking to reduce the amount of Swips in the recipe, of which barbecue sauce is 1 per portion, then you could give this a try. I suspect, however, that the barbecue flavour from the beans will be quite diluted by the end of the recipe, so I would still consider adding some barbecue sauce in at the end if so. But even then, if you only added 2 tablespoons in total, you would reduce the Swip count for the sauce to just half per portion. So this has had 10 minutes now. Most of the stock is absorbed. I've just checked the rice for its texture, and it's got a little bit of bite left in it. What we're going to do now is take it off the heat, and we're going to put the lid on and effectively just leave that to sit for anything from 5 to 10 minutes really. I'll just check on it. It's going to just finish up absorbing the rest of that stock whilst it's sat there, and that rice will finish off any cooking it still has to do. So it's now been sat for about 8 minutes, and I am checking on it. See, the steam is coming here. Let me just set that lid aside. And I'm going to give it a taste and just see what the texture's like. Yeah, it's absorbed the stock now. It's still a little soupy perhaps, but I'm quite happy with that. I mean, you could leave this standing for longer if you wanted it drier. And now let's say, yeah, let's give it a taste. Make sure the rice is cooked and what the flavour is. Okay, so I would actually say I'm going to cover this up again for another couple of minutes. The rice is definitely cooked. It's got a bit more bite still than I personally like. As I say, the recommendation was to go up to 10 minutes on this anyway, potentially, with it covered. So that's going to be enough, I'm pretty sure. The flavour is brilliant. It definitely doesn't need any salt. You know, we've got the stock and the bacon in there, and that's I can just tell straight away that's plenty of salt. If you're not a salty kind of person, you might want to look at the type of bacon you're using, or definitely use a low sodium stock when you put that in. I am going to add some pepper, and I'm just going to do that right now actually. Just go around the pan with a bit, and then sit that lid back on top. All right, so I'll be back to this in just a couple of minutes, and it'll be ready to plate out. So here is my portion ready for dinner. I am really looking forward to tucking in. I did make enough for 4 today, so half of what I've made will be going in the freezer. There's only 2 of us for dinner. I know some people have some concerns about cooling and reheating rice. The guidance on that is so long as you get it cooled as fast as you can and reheat it very thoroughly, you should be fine. So I have never had a problem with doing that. So the advice is to just get it into your pots, and as soon as it stops steaming, get your lid on and get it into the fridge or the freezer, whichever you're using. Both is fine. If you are keeping it in the fridge, use it within a couple of days, and either way, just make sure you reheat it very thoroughly when you're getting around to doing so. But I do hope you're inspired by today's video and want to give it a go. It's actually quite a versatile recipe. So if barbecue isn't your bag, you could definitely make this with maybe like a chili sauce, or even using like the chili beans, like the kidney beans that you get in the chili sauce, I think would work really well with this. As I've mentioned, you could use mince options like a pork mince would go really well, as would a turkey or a beef, of course. Or you could experiment with other seasonings like Cajun seasoning. Would be perfect for something like this. The version I've made today comes in at 3 swips. That's because I've used 2 swips for sausages and 1 swip for barbecue sauce. I'm not going to count my quarter of a swip for the oil that I've used. If you're on Slimming World, do make sure to check what the swip count of the sausages that you're using are. If they have any, of course, you may have used the Slimming World ones, and also your barbecue sauce if you've used it. The full macro should be on screen for you now if you're interested in those. In the description of the video, you will find a full list of the ingredients I've used and prepared today and a full step-by-step description of how to make the meal. So if you're coming back to this later, you just go there and find it. It'll be much easier to follow. And thank you for watching today. I'll be back at the weekend with my next weight loss vlog video, an update on how I'm getting on at Slimming World there. The weekend videos from next week will start to include a new segment where I'm looking at different meals that I've made throughout the week as well, to give you some additional inspiration in there. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.